Hello everyone. In today's video presentation, we will cover Acumatica's Commerce Edition. Acumatica's Commerce Edition is a critical piece for your ERP. Luckily, Acumatica has it covered. Acumatica offers integration with the top 3 e-commerce storefront companies, namely Magento Commerce, Shopify, and BIG Commerce. Today, we will review the BIG Commerce integration with Acumatica Cloud ERP version 2020 R1. In order to view this demo, we need to set up an account with BIG Commerce and also set up few configurations in the ECommerce as well as in the Acumatica Cloud ERP system. Let's take a look at that. So, in order to create an account with BIG Commerce, go to bigcommerce.com and set up a free trial account for 15 days. Once you sign up on the BIG Commerce website, your account will be activated. Here we're going to go ahead and click login and be able to log into BIG Commerce dashboard. Some of the things that you really want to set up ahead of time is if you go into advanced settings and API accounts, you want to make sure you have your API account created and the keys are all generated for you. Once you have that, you can then go to the home page and server settings. Look for file access, which is web DAV, and be able to note down your user ID, password, and then also the web dev path. This information is critical for us to key in the Acumatica, so we have a handshake between BIG Commerce and Acumatica. Once you have those things covered, then you can go into the storefront, which is over here, and then be able to set up your themes. You can go to the theme marketplace and be able to choose any different themes that you would like to have your website look and feel. You can configure the logos, the homepage, carousel, blog, email templates. Again, these are all standard configuration in any e-commerce platform. So the key thing for us to do is to have the advanced settings, API keys created, and also to make sure we have the web DAV link that's needed for our Acumatica system. Now let's take a look at Acumatica. In today's demo, I am using Acumatica 2020 R1. I chose this version because it has the latest features. And also the item matrix feature is added in this version. So the e-commerce edition works on 2019 R2 as well as on 2020 R1. One of the first things that you need to do is go to enable disable features in Acumatica, look for commerce integration, and make sure you turn that on. And once that's on, then you have the commerce edition installed with your commerce workspace. And on the commerce workspace, you can click on the BIG Commerce stores and create your new BIG Commerce store. Give it a store name, make it active, the default. Again, this framework allows you to create multiple instances of BIG Commerce. So if you have 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 BIG Commerce websites, you can create new ones and be able to handshake with them with the API keys. Notice the path. And this is the API path that we need, the credentials for the BIG Commerce. Once you key this information, you should be able to do a test connection, and the famous green icon indicates that it is ready to go. Once we have the BIG Commerce account created and configured in Acumatica, the next step is very important one, the entity settings. Entity settings. Identify how you want your website to perform, right? Do you want a unidirectional syncing of data, or do you want bi-directional syncing of data? What that really means is when you want to bring down the orders from the e-commerce site into Acumatica and just the orders, then that makes it a unidirectional or one way. But what if you want to bring down the sales orders from your e-commerce into Acumatica, process them in Acumatica for shipments, and generate a tracking number? Now you want to take that information and go and update back to the BIG Commerce. that makes it a bi-direction. What if you wanted to upload your products information that you're creating in Acumatica into the BigCommerce website and be able to upload the images, the product availability information? So that makes it an export option. At the same time, customers, you may want to do bi-directions. The customers that are getting created in BigCommerce, you want them to come into Acumatica, as well as customers that are getting created in Acumatica, you might want to expose them on the website so they can shop and check out and place order. So you have to identify these things, these entities ahead of time as to how you want to perform on your website. So Acumatica provides you the option to choose bi-direction, import and export, and you can define which is a primary system and which one is external system. So this is a really key piece of configuration that you really need to understand and configure ahead of time. So today's demo, I'm going to show and talk about just the sales order entity, which is a really important entity to configure. So you can actually click on sales order entity. It will take you to a new page with the entity settings with pre-populated data. We already have this as bi-direction, and we also enable the sync immediately feature. So what you can do with this entities screen is you can define how you're going to pull the data from your e-commerce into Acumatica. And also you can do a little bit advanced settings, which is what if you had a custom field that you want to collect the data from BigCommerce and bring that data into your sales order. Then you may want to create some custom fields in Acumatica so they can store that value. So if you have any complex scenarios like this, then you may want to create the custom fields in Acumatica ahead of time, and then using the mapping field you can then select where the data is coming from and where it's going to go and sit in Acumatica. So this really helps you to do any complex scenarios that businesses might have. So I'm not going to go in detail about that, but that's something you can definitely configure for every entity. You can do those kind of mappings. What's also important for us to be able to integrate the full e-commerce is to set up all the other configuration tabs, the customer settings tab. Also you can set up auto numbering. So as I said, a new customer is created in Acumatica, you may want to give a new numbering sequence. Similarly with inventory settings, you may want to define how you want to show your quantity available on the website, and if it's not available, then what do you want to do, right? You want to do nothing, or do you want to set as a pre-order? So those are some useful inventory settings in Acumatica. And then also you can define the same settings for the order settings. All the orders that are coming in from your e-commerce store, I may want to have a new order type created called WO, which is for web orders. So configuring all of these settings ahead of time lets you to have a seamless integration between your e-commerce and your ERP system. So there are a lot of settings that that you may want to get your hands on, configure them. Once that's done, then your BigCommerce is ready to be launched. And if you go down to the Acumatica demo store that I have created here, you can literally start syncing data in terms of the inventory, the products, the images. Consumer goods is one of the categories that I have synced from Acumatica into the BigCommerce. So if you notice, all these products came in from Acumatica. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to bring up my inventory and stock items, and I want to open up the product coffee mug that I created in Acumatica, finished goods, and then also created a new matrix item. So if you load all your stock items, you can click on the matrix items. So I'm going to just click on one of them here. So you would be able to create a matrix group, which is the template, and then create all the matrix items, and then be able to assign the color and the size. You can also upload an image. If you notice here, this is quite important, which is the sales categories. So you want to indicate where this particular product is going to reside, in which category, and you should be able to sync this category with your e-commerce store, which is what we see here as consumer goods. And then I also created a regular stock item. In this case, it's a coffee mug. So once you have these products created in Acumatica and all the images uploaded, you should be able to sync that data to BIG Commerce. Let's go ahead and click on one of the product here, which is the coffee mug. So I'm going to go ahead and click add to cart. I'm going to continue my shopping, and I'm going to also choose the new matrix item that I have uploaded here. As you can see, I have color and size. In this case, I just chose to have one color, and I'm going to choose medium. If you do notice, the current stock is 3, whereas if I change it to small, then stock is 5. So let's go ahead and add that to cart. You can also create descriptions and be able to upload that from Acumatica to BIG Commerce. Again, in BIG Commerce, you can create any custom information like team name or anything of that sort as a custom field. You can create that at a product level and be able to sync that too. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to my shopping cart. So I have 2 products that I'm purchasing. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed to checkout and place an order from the e-commerce store. So notice again, I have just a flat rate. If you have different shipping rates, then make sure you configure that. Any comments, right? I'm going to click on continue. Billing and shipping and payments. Obviously for this demo, I'm going to use check and be able to just place an order. What's important here is to make a note of the order number, which is 110. So as we place the order on the BIG Commerce website, I did get a email confirmation to my personal email address here, which indicates that I did place an order for 2 products, and we have the order number 110. So what we need to do now is to go to Acumatica and Commerce workspace, and there are a couple of things that you need to do. So here we're going to do everything in manual, but each of this processing page, as you know, in Acumatica, you can always schedule them and have that to run the schedule based on your frequency. So one of the things that we need to synchronize is the sales order information. So it's set up as bidirectional, and if you really notice that I have synced last on April 6th, so obviously I'm not synced. One of the things that also you need to kind of make a note is what's the fetch mode, right? You're fetching full set of orders or only incremental. Obviously the first time you're going to do full, and then later on as the schedule runs, you want to set it up to incremental. So any new sales orders that were created today are going to be downloaded. Again, if you increase the frequency to do it every hour, then any new orders that are created on an hourly basis would be brought down into the system. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on process. So as it's doing the job, we'll switch quickly to sync data, as I want to show you that for the sales order, if you notice the last numbers are 108, 109. We really don't have the 110, which is the 110. So give it a few seconds, you will get the green indication processed, which is a good news. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to refresh this screen. So I'm going to also choose from the entity. I don't want to see everything. I want to only see sales order. If you notice that right here, we have 110, which is the sales order number that I created on the website. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this and be able to process. So as I click on this, what's going to happen is on my list of sales order, you would notice that these are all completed web orders. So as a process that, you should see a new web order with the sales order number generated within Acumatica. Now again, keep in mind, all of this processing screen, you don't have to do this manual. Just for this demo purpose, I'm showing you the step-by-step process, but again, you can put them all on a scheduler and run them in a scheduled manner, so you can have this automated. So once that's done, let's go ahead and refresh this. So notice that you got the new sales order. click on it. The status is open. So at the same time, I want to switch back to my Acumatica's, not the Acumatica BIG Commerce module here. So I'm going to go down to home page on the web admin module of BIG Commerce. You can see the number of sales orders that were created today, the dollar value, number of customers, number of orders. So you get to see a quick dashboard, kind of giving you a statistics of what's happening. So I want to do this. I want to go into orders, and it will list all the orders that I have placed. Notice how the status says awaiting payment, awaiting fulfillment, and shipped. So as I start working on this order in Acumatica, again, the custom data that I have configured is here. This indicates the customer ID. So for this sales order that we placed, my customer ID is 2. So that's the data that I wanted to sync, and that is there here, which is good. We also have a description which says BIG Commerce order number 110, and then also the notes that I keyed in is also brought into the document notes. I ordered 2 products, coffee mug and the embroidery crew neck. That information is also in here. So the next thing that we do as part of Acumatica is to fulfill this order. We can do a quick process which lets you to create the shipping, the shipment, right, and confirm shipments, update IN, and prepare invoice. Standard process in Acumatica. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that. Alright, so we have our shipment document created here, which might have the tracking number generated. We have the inventory and as well as the invoice created for this sales order. So what I really want to show you here is that as you process these orders in Acumatica as part of your business process of creating sales order, shipments, and invoice, this information now is relayed back, is pushed back to BIG Commerce. So I'm going to go ahead and again process this, and in this case the direction is now export, and it's not the import. So it's going to export this particular information back to the BIG Commerce and notifies the BIG Commerce that a shipment is done on this order, and it changes the status of that sales order from awaiting fulfillment to shipped. So that's what we want to achieve by syncing the data. So I'm going to go ahead again and choose sync data, and in this case I'm going to choose shipment. So if you notice that there is one pending record sitting here, and I'm going to go ahead and click process. Alright, as the data is synced, let's go ahead and check the shipment status on the website. So if I come down to BIG Commerce website, you do notice that 110 is in this case not shipped but partially shipped, which is good, because let's take a look at the data here. Yes, it is back order, it's not completed. Maybe I didn't have the particular product in stock, right? So if you take a look at the coffee mug, yes, we didn't have this in stock. It was telling me a warning, maybe I ignored. But the good news is you have shipped the other product which was in stock, quantity 5, and now it is quantity 4. So it's in real time. You can see that this is letting customer know that we have shipped this partially, and whenever we do the other shipment, it will change to the status of shipped. So literally I wanted to show you that the synchronization works bi-directional. Make sure to configure all your entities in terms of how you want to sync data and all the configuration settings, and then enable all the processes that you need, and then be able to schedule them to sync the data in real time. Acumatica also provides few other preferences to be able to map data for your complex business scenarios. It also has a built-in dashboards, again based on the generic inquiries, and you can create those KPIs to be able to monitor your incoming sales orders, your top products. It also be able to highlight and figure out if there's any failed sales orders or failed mappings or failed synchronizations. Then you can take a look at that, drill down, and be able to identify what's missing and be able to fix those information in Acumatica. So really, I wanted to show you the powerful features of Commerce Edition and the integration with the BIG Commerce. So if you have any questions, shoot us an email. Again, this is Harsha from InfoSourcing. Thank you, and have a great day.